And you mentioned that you're an introvert. You mentioned having been in the Air Force, that is quite an extroverted place, but you've honed a few skills and had realizations. But one thing that I'd love to learn from you, because in a previous life, I've done a multi-level business, and it's a great business model. It's a fantastic way to get trainings, to start a business, to have a side hustle or whatever it is. How do you find creating a business as an introvert? How are you finding this business model and bringing your introversion into it and doing it in a way that suits you or makes you comfortable? What have you sort of learned or picked up or experimenting with or whatever?
Yeah, it's quite a daunting thing actually because when I first started off doing telling people that I've got things that might help their brain, I used to get a lot of people just saying to me, whatever, it sounds too good to be true, and I wasn't really confident in myself, which is the fundamental thing, or indeed at that stage at the very start of my journey with these set of products, I wasn't that comfortable with the products because I didn't know enough. But over time, I've learnt about some amazing stories. So what I now start to do is instead of thinking about speaking to the person that I'm speaking directly to, I talk about somebody else. So I talk about somebody's amazing story. So I talk about their frustration, their skepticism about how these things might work, and then talk about the results they got. And that seems to attract enough attention to then have a proper conversation about it. I'll always have, in a physical networking environment, I'll always have some sort of prop, which I always call a conversation starter. So when people say to me, "What is that?" You've got a strange looking drink or a golf club or a sword or whatever it happens to be. What is that thing you've got there? I call it a conversation starter. Oh, really? Why is that? Because you've just come up and spoken to me, which is a great way for an introvert of not having to break into a crowd of people. So when you go to normal networking groups, you get like four people standing around in a small circle. You get one or two standing over there and whatever else, and you then got to quickly, for me, for an introvert, you've got to analyse the room, find out where there's somebody that's open enough to talk to, and then you've got to kind of sidle across there and stand there stupidly at the side with your cup of coffee, just going, do you mind if I join in? So when you've got a prop or something that's quite interesting to look at, I find that people will now come to me and say, "That looks interesting. What is that?"
That's,
Which is
that's
a
a really
nice
good
way of
tip.
starting the conversation off. And the other aspect is that I choose my networking environments very carefully. So there are some which are available with what they call open networking. So it's on a Zoom call with like 24 little camera pieces on the online, or in reality it's just loads of people that know each other seemingly. Absolute nightmare. I really, really hate them with a passion. And sometimes I've arrived at one place to find that big, massive bodies, and I've just looked in and just driven back home again straight away, because it's just sometimes it can seem like it's an impenetrable mass of people and bodies and blah 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 extroversion. It doesn't mean to say I can't cope in that environment. It just means that it's more difficult to break into in the first place, and it's
Mm.
then about trying to create these small little groups, whether it's online or in person, trying to create small little groups where I'm not standing there trying to preach to everybody.